Have you ever wondered why someone who no longer calls, no longer shows up, or no longer values you still manages to live rent-free in your mind? Why does your heart continue holding on when your mind already knows it's time to let go? If you've ever replayed old conversations, checked your phone hoping for a message, or imagined what you could have done differently, you're not alone. Emotional attachment is one of the strongest forces we experience as human beings. It can make us ignore reality, overlook red flags, and keep waiting for people who have already moved on. But here's something many people never realize. Emotional detachment is not about becoming cold, heartless, or incapable of loving someone. It's about reclaiming your peace. It's about choosing yourself without feeling guilty. It's about reaching a place where someone else's actions no longer control your happiness. In today's video, we're going to explore exactly how to emotionally detach from someone in a healthy and lasting way. We'll uncover why letting go feels so difficult, the mistakes that keep people emotionally trapped, and practical strategies that can finally set you free. If you're ready to stop carrying emotional weight that no longer belongs to you, stay with me until the end, because the final lesson often changes everything. And if you find value in this video, consider subscribing, because every week we explore practical ways to build emotional strength, healthier relationships, and a happier life. The first truth you need to accept is this: people don't stay in our lives forever. Some arrive to teach us lessons. Others come to help us grow. A few remain for life, but many are only meant to stay for a season. The pain begins when we try to make temporary people permanent. We convince ourselves that if we try harder, love harder, or wait longer, things will somehow return to the way they once were. Unfortunately, life rarely works that way. Holding on doesn't stop change from happening. It only delays your healing. Think about carrying a heavy backpack every single day. At first, you barely notice the weight. Eventually, your shoulders begin to ache. Your posture changes. Walking becomes exhausting. The emotional burden of holding on to someone works exactly the same way. You adapt to the pain until you mistake it for normal. You forget what emotional freedom even feels like. One of the biggest reasons people struggle to detach is because they confuse love with attachment. Love and attachment are not the same thing. Love allows people to grow. Attachment demands that they stay. Love says, "I want what's best for you." Attachment says, "I need you to make me feel complete." The difference may seem small, but it changes everything. When your happiness depends entirely on another person's presence, your emotional well-being becomes something you no longer control. Every delayed reply affects your mood. Every social media post becomes something you overanalyze. Every small change in their behavior feels like a personal rejection. That's not peace. That's emotional dependence. Another reason detachment feels impossible is because your brain becomes addicted to emotional patterns. Whenever someone gives you attention, your brain rewards you with feel-good chemicals. When that attention disappears, your mind craves it the same way it craves any familiar reward. But that's why you keep checking your messages even when you know they probably won't text. That's why you continue visiting their social media profile, even though it only hurts you. Your brain isn't searching for closure. It's searching for another emotional reward. Understanding this changes everything, because once you recognize that your mind is following a habit rather than reality, you can begin breaking that habit. Healing becomes less about waiting for someone else to change, and more about changing your own patterns. Now here's a difficult question. Are you in love with the person? Or are you in love with the version of them you created in your imagination? Many people don't actually miss who someone is today. They miss who that person used to be. Or worse, they miss who they hoped that person would eventually become. Hope can be beautiful, but misplaced hope can keep you emotionally imprisoned for years. It's painful to admit that someone has changed. It's painful to accept that the relationship you imagined may never exist. But accepting reality is the beginning of emotional freedom. You cannot heal from a fantasy while refusing to face the truth. One of the healthiest exercises you can do is write down two separate lists. On one side, write the reality of the relationship. On the other side, write the fantasy you've been holding on to. Be completely honest. Did they consistently communicate? Did they make you feel emotionally safe? Did they prioritize you? Did they respect your boundaries? Or were you mostly holding on to moments that happened months or even years ago? You'll often discover that you're grieving potential rather than reality. You're mourning the future you imagined instead of the relationship you actually experienced. Recognizing this doesn't eliminate the pain overnight, but it helps you stop feeding an illusion. Another powerful step toward emotional detachment is accepting that closure doesn't always come from another person. Many people wait months or years hoping for one final conversation. They believe that if the other person would just explain everything, apologize sincerely, or admit their mistakes, healing would finally begin. But life rarely offers perfect endings. Sometimes people disappear without explanation. Sometimes they move on without looking back. Sometimes they never apologize. And sometimes the closure you've been waiting for simply never arrives. That's why emotional maturity means learning to create your own closure. You stop asking why they left. You start asking what you learned. You stop asking why they didn't choose you. You start asking why you kept choosing someone who couldn't fully choose you. Those questions change your focus from regret to growth. One habit that quietly destroys healing is constant digital attachment. Every notification makes your heart race. Every online status captures your attention. Every new photo sends your imagination into overdrive. Social media can keep emotional wounds permanently open. You don't need daily reminders of someone you're trying to release. Distance isn't punishment. It's protection. Creating space isn't about being immature. It's about allowing your nervous system to calm down. Every time you avoid checking their profile, you're teaching your brain that your peace matters more than temporary curiosity. Every day without emotional triggers makes tomorrow a little easier. Small victories eventually become lasting freedom. Many people also make the mistake of keeping every gift, every message, every picture, and every memory within easy reach. They tell themselves they're simply being sentimental, but often they're preserving emotional anchors that keep pulling them back into the past. Healing sometimes requires changing your environment, not because memories are bad, but because constant reminders make it difficult for your heart to accept what your mind already knows. This doesn't mean you need to erase every chapter of your life. It means creating enough emotional space for a new chapter to begin. You cannot fully embrace tomorrow while spending every day reliving yesterday. Perhaps the most important lesson of all is this. You deserve relationships where love feels mutual rather than uncertain. You deserve conversations that bring peace instead of anxiety. You deserve consistency instead of confusion. You deserve honesty instead of mixed signals. And most importantly, you deserve to wake up without wondering whether you're enough for someone who continually makes you question your worth. The journey toward emotional detachment isn't about forgetting someone overnight. It's about remembering yourself again. Every small step you take is a step back toward the person you were before you handed someone else the keys to your happiness. And that journey is only just beginning. Now let's talk about one of the biggest myths that keeps people emotionally trapped for months or even years. Many people believe that time alone heals every wound. While time certainly helps, time by itself changes very little if your daily habits continue feeding the attachment. If you spend every day replaying old memories, checking their social media, imagining different outcomes, and waiting for them to come back, then you're not giving yourself time to heal. You're giving yourself time to suffer. Healing begins when your actions start matching your desire to move forward. Think of emotional attachment like a fire. Every memory you intentionally replay is another piece of wood. Every old message you reread is another spark. Every what-if question is another gust of wind that keeps the flames alive. Eventually, the fire becomes so familiar that you mistake it for warmth. But in reality, it's slowly consuming your peace. The only way for the fire to die is to stop feeding it. This is why emotional discipline is far more important than emotional motivation. Some mornings, you'll wake up feeling strong and confident. Other mornings, you'll miss them so much that your heart will convince you to send just one more message. Those difficult moments don't mean you failed. They simply mean you're human. Real progress happens when you choose what helps you heal, instead of what temporarily eases your loneliness. Here's something that may surprise you. Loneliness and love are not the same thing. Many people return to unhealthy relationships, not because they are deeply in love, but because they are deeply uncomfortable being alone. Silence can feel frightening when you've spent so much time emotionally connected to another person. An empty evening can suddenly feel unbearable. A quiet phone can seem louder than any conversation, but learning to enjoy your own company is one of the greatest forms of emotional freedom you can ever develop. Imagine meeting someone who genuinely enjoys spending time with themselves. They read books they love. They pursue hobbies that excite them. They travel when they can. They exercise because it makes them feel alive. They laugh with friends. They continue growing whether someone is beside them or not. That kind of person becomes difficult to emotionally control. Not because they don't care about relationships, but because they understand that a relationship should add to their life, rather than become their entire life. This brings us to another powerful lesson. Stop making one person your whole world. Healthy relationships thrive when two complete individuals choose to walk together. Unhealthy relationships often happen when one person becomes the entire source of the other's happiness. That's an impossible responsibility for anyone to carry. No single person can consistently provide all the validation, excitement, comfort, confidence, and purpose another human being needs. When we expect that, disappointment becomes inevitable. Instead of asking yourself how to stop thinking about them, ask yourself another question. What parts of my own life have I neglected while focusing on this relationship? Maybe you've stopped pursuing your dreams. Maybe you've drifted away from close friends. Maybe you've abandoned hobbies that once made you feel alive. Maybe you've forgotten what genuinely makes you smile without anyone else's approval. Rebuilding those parts of your identity isn't just a distraction, it's recovery. One of the most effective ways to emotionally detach is by creating a future that excites you more than your past. Think about that for a moment. If tomorrow looks brighter than yesterday, your heart naturally begins looking forward instead of backward. Start learning a new skill you've always wanted to master. Take a class. Start exercising consistently. Read books that challenge your thinking. Volunteer in your community. Set career goals that inspire you. Every investment you make in yourself weakens the emotional grip of someone who no longer belongs in your future. It's also important to understand that memories are often selective. Your mind has an interesting habit during heartbreak. It highlights the happiest moments while quietly ignoring the painful ones. Suddenly, you remember the vacations, the late-night conversations, the laughter, the surprises, the promises. Meanwhile, your brain conveniently forgets the nights you cried yourself to sleep, the broken promises, the unanswered messages, the anxiety, the disrespect, the uncertainty, the emotional exhaustion. That's why heartbreak can trick you into believing you lost perfection, when in reality you lost something deeply imperfect. Whenever nostalgia begins convincing you that you should go back, gently remind yourself to remember the whole story, not just your favorite chapters. Healing requires honesty, and honesty means accepting both the beautiful moments and the painful ones. Let's also talk about forgiveness. Forgiveness is often misunderstood. People assume forgiving someone means excusing what they did. It doesn't. Forgiveness doesn't erase accountability. It doesn't mean pretending the hurt never happened. And it certainly doesn't require allowing someone back into your life. Forgiveness simply means choosing not to carry the emotional burden any longer. You're releasing yourself more than you're releasing them. Imagine carrying a heavy stone everywhere you go. Eventually, your arms become tired. Your back begins hurting. Your energy disappears. Now imagine finally setting that stone down. The stone hasn't changed, but your ability to move forward has. Forgiveness works the same way. The past remains part of your story. It simply stops controlling your future. Another challenge people face is comparing themselves to the person who replaced them. Maybe your former partner seems happy with someone new. Maybe they're posting smiling pictures online. Maybe it appears as though they've completely forgotten about you. Watching that unfold can feel devastating. But appearances rarely reveal reality. Social media captures moments, not entire lives. People post highlights, not healing. They share celebrations, not silent struggles. Comparing your real life to someone else's carefully selected moments is a battle you'll never win. Even more importantly, someone else's choices do not determine your worth. Your value didn't decrease because someone walked away. Your kindness didn't disappear because someone failed to appreciate it. Your future didn't end because one chapter closed. Your identity is far greater than one relationship. The sooner you stop measuring yourself through another person's acceptance, the sooner genuine confidence begins to grow. Here's an exercise that can completely change your perspective. Write a letter to the person you're trying to emotionally detach from. Say everything you've been holding inside. Express your disappointment. Share your gratitude for the lessons. Acknowledge your pain. Wish them well if you're ready. Then don't send the letter. Keep it for yourself, or safely destroy it if that feels right. The purpose isn't communication. The purpose is emotional release. Sometimes the words trapped inside. Your heart needs somewhere to go before healing can truly begin. Remember this whenever the urge to reach out becomes overwhelming. Missing someone is not always a sign that you should contact them. Sometimes it's simply a sign that you shared meaningful moments together. Missing them is a feeling. Returning to an unhealthy pattern is a decision. Feelings deserve compassion. Decisions require wisdom. Every day you choose yourself, you're sending your heart a powerful message. You're saying that your peace matters. Your future matters. Your emotional health matters. And little by little, your heart begins believing those words. The journey isn't about pretending you never loved them. It's about refusing to lose yourself because you love them. That distinction changes everything. And in the next part, we'll explore the daily habits, mindset shifts, and powerful psychological techniques that help emotional detachment become permanent instead of temporary. By now, you may be wondering why some people seem to move on so quickly, while others remain emotionally attached for years. The answer isn't always that one person loved more than the other. More often, it's because people process loss in different ways. Some people face their emotions head-on. Others avoid them completely. Ironically, avoiding pain often makes it last much longer. When you constantly distract yourself from your emotions without ever processing them, those emotions don't disappear. They simply wait for a quieter moment to return. That's why a random song, a familiar place, or a certain smell can suddenly bring back memories you thought were long gone. Your heart isn't trying to punish you. It's asking you to finally acknowledge what you've been avoiding. Instead of running from your emotions, learn to sit with them. That doesn't mean allowing them to control your life. It means recognizing them without judging yourself. When sadness appears, remind yourself that sadness is a normal response to loss. When anger surfaces, understand that anger often hides disappointment. When guilt shows up, ask whether you're blaming yourself for things that were never entirely within your control. Emotions are temporary visitors. They become permanent residents only when we refuse to understand them. One of the healthiest habits you can develop is journaling. Every morning or evening, spend a few minutes writing whatever comes to mind. Don't worry about grammar or making it sound perfect. Simply let your thoughts flow. Over time, you'll begin noticing patterns. You'll recognize the triggers that make you think about them. You'll discover beliefs that have been holding you back. And most importantly, you'll realize how much progress you've actually made, even on days when it feels like you're standing still. Another powerful tool is gratitude. Now, this doesn't mean pretending everything is wonderful when your heart is hurting. It means intentionally shifting some of your attention toward the good that still exists in your life. Heartbreak has a way of narrowing your focus until all you can see is what's missing. Gratitude gently widens your perspective again. You begin appreciating supportive friends, a loving family member, your health, your goals, the opportunities that still lie ahead. Slowly, your life becomes bigger than your loss. Let's talk about boundaries, because emotional detachment is nearly impossible without them. Boundaries are not walls designed to keep everyone out. They're healthy limits that protect your emotional well-being. If someone only reaches out when it's convenient for them, if they repeatedly cross your limits, if they leave you feeling anxious more often than peaceful, those are signs that stronger boundaries may be necessary. Choosing distance isn't an act of revenge. It's an act of self-respect. Many people fear that setting boundaries makes them selfish. In reality, healthy boundaries allow you to build healthier relationships in the future. When you know your worth, you're less likely to tolerate behavior that consistently hurts you. You stop accepting crumbs when you deserve genuine care. You stop chasing people who clearly don't want to be caught. And you stop confusing emotional chaos with passion. Here's another mindset shift that can transform your healing journey. Stop asking, "Why wasn't I enough?" Instead, ask, "Was this relationship truly meeting my needs?" Those are completely different questions. The first one assumes there's something wrong with you. The second encourages honest reflection about the relationship itself. Healthy love isn't about proving your worth. It's about sharing your life with someone who appreciates it naturally. You should never have to earn basic respect, honesty, or consistency. It's also important to remember that closure doesn't always arrive as a dramatic conversation or heartfelt apology. Sometimes closure comes quietly. It arrives the moment you stop waiting for someone to become the person you needed them to be. It arrives when you accept that not every question will have an answer. It arrives when you realize that your future doesn't depend on their return. That kind of closure is powerful because no one can take it away from you. As you continue healing, you'll notice something interesting. The memories don't disappear. They simply lose their emotional intensity. You'll hear a song that once made you cry, and one day you'll simply smile. You'll drive past a place you used to visit together without feeling your chest tighten. You'll think about them without feeling the need to reach out. That's what healing often looks like. Not forgetting, but remembering without suffering. There may also come a day when they contact you again. This happens more often than many people expect. Sometimes people return because they're lonely. Sometimes because they're curious. Sometimes because things didn't work out elsewhere. And occasionally because they've genuinely grown. If that day comes, don't let nostalgia make the decision for you. Let wisdom decide. Ask yourself whether anything has truly changed. Ask whether the issues that caused the separation have actually been addressed. When asked whether reconnecting would bring peace or simply reopen old wounds, your healed heart deserves thoughtful decisions, not impulsive ones. Another sign that you're emotionally detaching is when you stop needing everyone else's opinion. Beginning, you might constantly ask your friends what they think. You replay conversations over and over. You search for reassurance that you made the right choice. But as you grow emotionally stronger, you begin trusting yourself again. You realize that while advice can be helpful, your inner voice deserves attention too. Confidence grows every time you make decisions that align with your values rather than your fears. Remember that healing is rarely a straight line. Some days you'll feel like you've made incredible progress. Other days, an unexpected memory may bring tears to your eyes. Don't mistake a difficult day for failure. One emotional moment doesn't erase weeks or months of growth. Think of healing like climbing a mountain. The path may twist and turn. Sometimes you'll need to pause and catch your breath. But every step still brings you closer to the summit. Celebrate the small victories along the way. Celebrate the first day you don't check their profile. Celebrate the first weekend you genuinely enjoy yourself without thinking about them constantly. Celebrate the first time you laugh without forcing it. Celebrate every moment that reminds you you're becoming whole again. Progress isn't measured only by giant breakthroughs. It's built through countless small decisions that move you in the right direction. Above all, remember this powerful truth. Someone leaving your life does not mean your best days left with them. In fact, some of the happiest chapters of your life may begin only after you've found the courage to let go. The pain you're experiencing today may one day become the wisdom that protects you tomorrow. The heartbreak that once felt unbearable may eventually become the reason you recognize healthier love when it finally arrives. Nothing you've been through is wasted if you're willing to learn from it. You're not defined by who walked away. You're defined by how you choose to grow afterward. And that choice belongs to you every single day. In the final part of this journey, we'll bring everything together with the most important lessons to help you not only let go of the past, but also build a future filled with confidence, peace, and emotionally healthy relationships. As we come to the final part of this journey, take a moment to reflect on how far you've already come. Not just in this video, but in your own life. If you've experienced heartbreak, rejection, disappointment, or the pain of letting someone go, you've already survived days you once believed you couldn't. That alone is proof that you're stronger than your emotions sometimes convince you that you are. One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing that healing has a deadline. They tell themselves they should be over it by now. They compare their progress with someone else's. They become frustrated whenever an old memory unexpectedly returns. But healing isn't a race. It's a personal journey. Your timeline doesn't have to match anyone else's. The only comparison that truly matters is whether you're becoming healthier than you were yesterday. Imagine planting a tree. You don't water it once and expect it to reach the sky overnight. You water it consistently. You protect it from harsh conditions. You remain patient even when you can't immediately see the growth happening beneath the surface. Your emotional healing works exactly the same way. The habits you practice every day are quietly strengthening your heart, even when the results aren't immediately visible. So let's bring everything together with a few simple truths that can guide you whenever you feel yourself slipping back into old patterns. First, accept reality instead of fighting it. Acceptance isn't giving up. Acceptance is choosing to stop arguing with what has already happened. The past cannot be rewritten, but your response to it can shape every chapter that follows. Second, stop searching for your worth in someone else's choices. People leave relationships for countless reasons. Sometimes they're emotionally unavailable. Sometimes they're confused. Sometimes they're simply incompatible with you. None of those reasons erase your value as a person. Your worth has never depended on one person's ability to recognize it. Third, protect your peace as fiercely as you once protected the relationship. Think about how much energy you invested in trying to make things work. Now imagine investing that same energy into your health, your dreams, your education, your family, your friendships, your faith, your purpose. Your future self will thank you for every decision you make today that prioritizes lasting peace over temporary comfort. Fourth, don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. Strength isn't pretending everything is fine. Strength is recognizing when the weight has become too heavy to carry alone. Talking with a trusted friend, family member, mentor, or a qualified mental health professional can provide perspective, encouragement, and practical tools that make the healing journey feel less overwhelming. You don't have to face difficult seasons by yourself. Fifth, remember that forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. You don't forgive because someone earned it. You forgive because you're tired of carrying anger that no longer serves you. Forgiveness doesn't require reconciliation. It requires freedom. When you release resentment, you create space for peace to enter your life. Now let's talk about something exciting. The person you're becoming after heartbreak is often wiser than the person you were before it. You notice red flags sooner. When you communicate your needs more clearly, you value consistency over empty promises. You understand that chemistry alone isn't enough to build a healthy relationship. You begin choosing people based on character instead of potential. Those lessons are priceless. They're the hidden gifts that pain sometimes leaves behind. There will come a day when you'll meet new people. Some will become close friends. One day, you may even meet someone who loves you in ways you never thought possible. When that moment arrives, don't let the wounds of your past convince you to close your heart forever. Instead, let your past teach you how to love more wisely. Healthy love doesn't leave you constantly questioning where you stand. Healthy love doesn't require endless chasing. Healthy love is built on trust, respect, honesty, communication, and mutual effort. Once you've experienced emotional growth, you'll recognize the difference much more easily. If you're still holding on to someone while watching this video, I want you to remember one sentence whenever the pain feels overwhelming. You can miss someone and still know they're not meant for your future. Those two things can exist at the same time. Missing them doesn't mean you made the wrong decision. Missing them doesn't mean you should go back. It simply means they mattered to you. And it's okay for people to matter without remaining part of your life forever. Every sunrise offers a quiet reminder that life keeps moving forward. The world doesn't stop because one chapter ended. New opportunities continue to appear. New friendships are waiting to be formed. New experiences are waiting to be lived. New dreams are waiting to be pursued. And somewhere ahead, a version of yourself is waiting to thank you for refusing to give up during this difficult season. Picture yourself 1 year from today. Imagine waking up without immediately thinking about the person you're trying to forget. Imagine smiling more often, sleeping peacefully, laughing freely, feeling excited about your goals again, meeting new people without comparing everyone to your past, living with confidence instead of emotional uncertainty. That future isn't a fantasy. It's the natural result of choosing healing every single day. Remember, emotional detachment isn't about becoming numb. It's about becoming free. Free to love without losing yourself. Free to care without becoming dependent. Free to appreciate people without making them your entire identity. Free to walk away from situations that no longer serve your well-being. And free to build a life that's meaningful regardless of who chooses to stay or leave. If today's message resonated with you, take one small action before this video ends. Delete the draft message you've been afraid to erase. Put away the old photos that keep reopening the wound. Write down 3 goals you want to accomplish this year. Call a friend you've been meaning to reconnect with. Go for a walk. Read a chapter of a book. Start the gym membership you've been postponing. Choose one action that moves your life forward instead of pulling it backward. Small actions repeated consistently create extraordinary transformations. Always remember this: the person who is meant to stay in your life will never require you to abandon yourself just to keep them. Real love should feel safe. It should inspire growth. It should bring peace more often than confusion. And above all, it should never cost you your self-respect. Thank you for spending this time with me today. If this video encouraged you, helped you see your situation from a new perspective, or gave you hope for what's ahead, be sure to leave a like because it helps this message reach more people who may need it right now. Share your thoughts or your own healing journey in the comments because your story could inspire someone else who feels alone today. And if you're ready to continue building emotional strength, healthier relationships, and a more peaceful life, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our future videos. Until next time, remember this: you are not defined by who left. You are defined by the courage you show in choosing yourself again and again. Your story isn't over. In many ways, it's only just beginning.